Let's get a perspective from the other side of the political aisle. Democratic Congressman Tom Suozzi, representing parts of Nassau County on Long Island and parts of Queens. Congressman, thanks for joining us on Up Close again.
Hey, Bill, thanks for having me.
I'm going to ask you the same first question I asked Lee Zeldin moments ago. Given all this vitriol that we've had, before we get in the weeds about the verdict and everything else with Donald Trump, can we get back to really like debating issues in politics and especially for the race for presidency once again?
It's not just that whether we can or not, we have to, because the only way we're going to address the real problems that people face are by getting people to talk to each other. You can't solve complicated problems. Every problem is complicated. The border is complicated. The cost of living is complicated. Every foreign policy, all complicated. You can't solve complicated problems in an environment of fear and anger where we're just yelling at each other. You got to have people sit down and say, well, I agree with you on this, but I disagree with you on that, and try and find a place where you can find some common ground.
So what makes you so optimistic about this?
You know, I've been doing this a long time, and I see that there are a lot of good people still involved. There are a lot of pressures working against us. People are being pulled to the extremes by people trying to win primaries and just trying to please the base. Social media is to the extremes. Cable news is often, just trying to sell an extreme point of view. And the Russians and the Chinese Communist Party and Iran and others are trying to get us to hate each other by manipulating us with misinformation on social media on a regular basis. So these are working against us. But when everything's said and done, we're all still people, and there are a lot of good people that want to make the world a better place to live in. We just need them to have the courage to stand up for what they believe in.
Okay, so that as an aside to all that, because the next part of this conversation, I do want to get your opinion about what was your take on the verdict on Thursday, and what does it mean vis-a-vis having a real debate about politics as compared to, calling the judge crazy?
I have mixed emotions about the whole thing. I'm sad because it's contributing to the division that we have. We're just, everybody goes to the base, and people, oh, poor Trump, he's being persecuted. And the other side, oh, we got him, we got him. I mean, that's not going to get us where we need to go. We've got to get people, as you've pointed out, to talk to each other and try and meet somewhere to find some common ground. And these attacks and yelling and screaming are not going to do it. We need people to talk about, let's fix the immigration crisis and the border. There was a plan, a bipartisan plan out of the Senate from the most conservative, honest, ethical Republican you could imagine, James Lankford, and a great Democrat from Connecticut, Chris Murphy, and Kirsten Sinema. They had a plan. And then Trump came in and said, I don't want to give Biden a win. I want to run on the chaos. Don't do it. And as Mitt Romney said, that's appalling. So that's not going to work. We got to deal with the cost of living. Everybody's freaking out about the cost of living. The interest rates are so high. It's the Fed. It's a separate thing. But we got to get the interest rates down. We have to continue to reduce the cost of prescription drugs, which we've made some progress. But we have to make a lot more progress. We have to reduce the cost of housing. So these are real problems that can't be solved with a little soundbite and a quick little snap of your fingers.
That said, how is this going to affect the presidential election, the verdicts?
I don't know. I mean, how will his base, Trump's base, will be motivated, Biden's base will be motivated, and the people in the middle that usually decide these things have to decide whether or not they want to have somebody who's been convicted of these crimes, or whether they think it's a setup. I believe that when everything's said, whether you think it's politically motivated or not to bring these cases, 12 jurors heard all the facts from both sides, and they made a decision. And, I still believe in our country, and I still believe in the rule of law. So, I respect that.
Two things come to my mind when you're saying that. First, the 24 hours right after the verdicts, $39 million the Trump campaign raised, just by people, plugging in and going, answering their texts, number one. Number two, I can't help but thinking that a lot of people, conservative Republicans, would say, what am I going to tell my kids? Now that this guy who wants to be president again has 34 felony convictions.
Well, I've heard a lot of conservative Republicans, including elected officials, that said, listen, I don't hold Donald Trump as to be an example of character for my children. Yet they still went out and supported him. So, I mean, that's something, one of the things my wife and I talk about all the time is nobody's held accountable for anything anymore. People feel they can just say or do anything and get away with it. Now, this is an example of someone being held accountable. But George Santos has to be held accountable, and Hunter Biden has to be held accountable, and the people crossing the border without following the rules have to be held accountable, and the shoplifters have to be held accountable. We have to get back in our system, in our country, to a place where people are responsible for their actions. And, you know, I believe in our country. I believe it's, when everything's said and done, it all works out in the end. If it hasn't worked out, it's just not the end yet.
3 months you've been back on the job, 3 months or so. What's it like, number one? Number two, you talked about not passing certain things. There's a lot of things that haven't been passed. You know, maybe would have prevented some wars. Who knows, right?
Well, number one, it's a great honor to be a member of the United States Congress. It's a great honor to have this responsibility. My colleagues, as soon as I came back, very discouraged, both sides of the aisle. I talk to people all the time. I got a lot of friends on both sides of the aisle. What are you doing back here? Nothing's working. They're all very discouraged. However, you know, I went to Ukraine about 5 or 6 weeks ago, came back and said, listen, if Johnson puts the Ukraine-Israel-Taiwan deal on the floor and the Republicans like Marjorie Taylor Greene try to kick him out, I'll vote to keep him as a speaker. Now, I don't agree with Mike Johnson, but I said, we got to keep on moving forward, get something done. And he put it up, and the Democrats supported to keep him as speaker when Marjorie Taylor Greene and others tried to kick him out. I've said to Johnson, I've said to others, I said, let's take this thing out for a ride. Let's do some more things together on a bipartisan basis, and let's fix the border. Let's do more things to forget the base. We're going to piss off the base on both sides. Let's do things to solve the problems that the American people face. That's the only reason we do these jobs, or the only reason we should be doing these jobs, is to actually solve problems and make people's lives better.
And Democrats have worked with the House Speaker.
Yeah, we just kept him. We just kept him. He kept his job.
And how about the people on the far right? Are they going to try to get him again?
Yeah, if he puts anything up, you know, that's why I'm concerned we won't get the border up, because Trump said don't give Biden a win.
Here's the bipartisanship. I know it's an effort you swear to. So, Tom Suozzi, thank you for joining us once again.
Thank you, Bill.
All right, take care of yourself.